The first two knocks changed their lives forever. But the third brought Detective Uma. He arrived at dawn, the small town eerily quiet, the air thick with unspoken fears. Grace's car was found near Kevin's house, doors wide open, keys still swinging in the ignition, as if she'd vanished into thin air. The locals, their faces etched with a familiar dread, whispered about curses, about ghosts that walked the lonely roads. But Uma wasn't a man who listened to whispers. He listened to evidence. Inside Kevin's house, time itself seemed to have stopped. 2 coffee mugs sat on the kitchen table, a silent testament to a conversation that was never finished. 2 phones lay nearby. One screen was cracked, a spider web of glass. The other was missing. The dark, wet footprints leading to the ornate mirror were still there, a ghostly trail. Uma crouched, his flashlight beam cutting through the gloom. There was something wrong with the mirror. Its surface wasn't perfectly flat. It seemed to warp, to ripple like disturbed water as his light passed over it. He leaned in, his breath fogging the glass. For a fraction of a second, an impossible image flashed in his mind. He saw his own reflection blink, but his own eyes hadn't moved. A jolt of cold shock ran up his spine. He stepped back, his heart pounding a sudden, frantic rhythm. "Get this mirror to the lab," he ordered, his voice tight. As 2 officers carefully lifted the heavy frame from the wall, something fluttered to the floor. A photograph. Uma picked it up. It was a picture of Kevin and Grace, their arms around each other, smiling brightly outside this very house. It was a snapshot of a happy, normal life. But when he turned it over, his blood ran cold. Scrawled in a shaky, desperate hand were 5 words. It started with 1 knock. Uma frowned, the word echoing in his mind. Started. He muttered to himself. This wasn't an ending. It was a beginning. That night, the police station felt like a fortress against the encroaching darkness. Uma was buried in the case files, piecing together the timeline, searching for a rational explanation. He finally managed to unlock Kevin's phone, hoping for a clue, a text, anything. What he found was far more chilling. A video recorded just hours before Kevin disappeared. The screen flickered to life, showing Kevin's terrified face, illuminated only by the shaking beam of his flashlight. "There's someone outside," he whispered, his voice trembling. They look like me." His hand shook as he turned the camera toward the window. Through the glass, a figure stood in the darkness. As it lifted its head, the flashlight caught its features. It was Kevin's face, pale, gaunt, and stretched into a grotesque, knowing smile. Its eyes were black voids, like polished glass. And then the video cut to static. Uma let out a breath he didn't realize he'd been holding. The sterile air of his office suddenly felt suffocating. He was a man of logic, of facts, but this This defied all reason. Just then, the overhead lights flickered violently. His computer screen, which had been dark, buzzed and flared to life. A new message blinked on the screen from an unknown, untraceable number. The words seemed to burn into his retinas. Detective Uma, don't look in the mirror. A cold dread crept over him. He slowly, against his own will, turned his head toward the dark, reflective window beside his desk. And there, in the glass, was his own reflection. It was looking back at him, and it was smiling. Some doors, once opened, can never be closed. Some stories don't have an end, they just find a new beginning. The knock you hear in the middle of the night might not be at your door. It might be coming from the other side of the glass. Thank you for following this journey into the dark. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more tales that will keep you up at night. Stay safe, and whatever you do, be careful what you see in your own reflection.